So before we start for today, does anybody remember what was discussed last Saturday so that we can have a link? किसी को याद है ललित माधव प्रभु का क्लास स्थित प्रज्ञा के बारे में रिवीजन था. There are some of the beautiful verses that comes. So any particular verse that you liked? I think till we complete the chapter, right? 72 तक किया ना हम लोग ने उस दिन. हाँ, पर्पल बकेट 72 तक किया ना उन्होंने पूरा वर्सेस. एनी पर्टिकुलर वर्स दैट किसी को बहुत अच्छा लगा या ऐसा कुछ? नहीं. क्या थीम था? व्हाट वाज द थीम? इवन इफ इट वाज अ रिवीजन, व्हाट वाज द थीम? अच्छा, we continued on that, Lalit Madhav Prabhu? Oh, you like that verse. Okay. Chapter. हाँ 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 GITA, right? So what GITA stands for? Guru? Identity, okay. Transformation? Okay. Something two, okay. What is A? Also say Atma. Atmaram. Okay. Anyway, so what we'll do, we'll cover from 68 to 72. I'll just read the translation so that we have a continuation what happened, right? So 68 verse says, therefore. Okay, maybe let's take the 67 because when there is a therefore, there has to be some connection from the previous verse. So 67 says, as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So we also have to remember that this second chapter is called the content summarized. So this second chapter is the most powerful chapter of all the chapters because practically the entire summary of Gita is given in this. Okay. Because I think Krishna thought that after speaking this chapter, he may not have to go further, so he gave practically all the knowledge in the second chapter. Okay, so as it is mentioned here, as a strong wind, see that's the beauty of this Bhagavad Gita. It is so poetic also. Like, see the beautiful analogies given. As a strong wind sweeps away the boat on the water, right? Even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So no matter how you intelligent person is, right, a lady or a gentleman, but if your senses focuses on one particular thing, can drag you down. And we all have experienced that, right? Then in the next verse, Krishna says, therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. The person who has restrained their senses from the sense objects, they are of steady intelligence. Why is that? Why that person is called a steady intelligence? See, Shastras, we have to question, we have to understand with the proper understanding of it. Otherwise, what will happen? It will become a big satsang program. I don't know how many of you have seen, right? These saptas happen and thousands of people are there. But I don't know how much retention happens of the knowledge. Kathakar just goes on doing the katha. Kathakar is in his world. The people are in their world. Why they come to this katha? Because they feel that is one of the religious activity that we will see in today's third chapter. Very important. So this is not a satsang. This is a study group. We all need to understand what is being spoken here is why and what's the purpose behind it, right? So why it is called a steady intelligence when a person who is able to restrain from the sense objects? Because, yeah. Okay, very good. Because it's, Exactly. Wonderful. Yes.
Because he knows how to control his senses, so he is able to engage in somewhere which is not being, where he is not being able to control.
Right.
So,
So rather than the senses controlling him, he is controlling the senses. And for that, it requires a steady intelligence. If you're wavering intelligence, sometimes you're intelligent, sometimes not, that will not help to control your senses. And the most important aspect of intelligence, as Disha Mataji rightly said, what is the function of the intelligence? Whom, whom, whom do we call that person is an intelligent person?
who knows to discriminate?
Exactly. Who knows to discriminate, right? What is right and wrong? He's not somebody who can make a rocket. He's not. He has a knowledge. It doesn't mean that he's intelligent. Our definition of intelligent has also corrupted over the period of time. The real intelligence is somebody who can distinguish between right and wrong. That's why the intelligence sometimes being used in our scriptures is viveka buddhi. Who has a vivek to distinguish between right and wrong. Right? And the next Krishna further goes and says, what is night for all beings in the time of, sorry, what is a night for all being is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all being is night for the introspective sage. This is the most important verse and most amazing verse. I cannot imagine that something 5,000 years ago when Krishna spoke, it's still true. It's just amazing. He's saying, I repeat, what is night for all being is the time of awakening for self-controlled. What does that mean? What is night for all beings? You can also open up in your mobile also if you want to read that particular line. What is night for all being is the time of awakening for the self-controlled.
All the liquor bars closed at 4 a.m. in the morning, and spiritual people, they wake up in the morning.
Right.
The one who is able to control his senses, hence he is in the late time, and people who are looking at night bar and all that comes in the, he is not spiritual.
Yeah. So there are people who go to sleep at 3 a.m., right? Doing all their night duties so religiously. And they go to sleep. But that particular time is a time for somebody to get up. Already complete his sleep and ready to get up is a self-controlled person. Right? And then the next statement he says, and the time of awakening for all being is night for the introspective sage. That means people who are awake at that time, he is sleeping, the introspective sage. Right? So that is what we see. In fact, nowadays it is such an unfortunate thing. At least I have seen in the West, in specifically in New York. Right? If you are happen to go for a Mangala Arti in the temple at 5 a.m., you can still see people are still in the bar, and then Mangala Arti gets over and the people are coming out of the bar at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Can you imagine? And they enter the bar at what? Somewhere like, because they have a late work, right? So they complete their work at 10, 10:30, go to home, dress up for the nightclub, right? And come out at 6 a.m. Can you imagine? And I don't know how many of you have experienced our, what we call it as Gen Z, right? The next generation, what we call it, our kids are called Gen Z, the Z generation, right? For them, many of my, my kids' friends, many of their friends, they're saying, Papa, you are forcing us to sleep at 10 o'clock. For them, the 10 o'clock, the day starts actually. And they go on till 3 a.m., literally. Whether they study and do all the other things that we do not know, but practically they sleep at 3, 4 a.m. and they get up at 10:30, 11, 12, like that. So that is creeping in our society as well. And then we expect that these people to lead our country. They are our future in one sense. Can you imagine? They are our future. So it's such an unfortunate thing, but Gita explains it that. That's why if a person who have studied Gita from the childhood, right, that person will understand what is the right time to sleep. Gita also tells that, right? What is the right time to sleep? And what is the right time to get up? And believe the people who have got up early, there is something called, even in the material world, जो भौतिकवादी है उनके लिए भी there is something called 5 a.m. club. Have you heard of that? Huh? Barack Obama and all the others, they say that there is something called 5 a.m. club. The people who are the most successful people of this world, they actually get up early. They may jog and do different things, that's a separate case. But at least in that, when they are waking up, they are not insane. Or they are not doing the activity which is insane. Right? At least they may do yoga, they may do meditation, they may go for a jog or something, right? So they say they are the most successful people. Because the early you start your day, you feel that you have a more time in the day to do things. The late you start your day, then you will feel that I don't have time to do many things. So start experimenting this. If you get up early, you will see that your day is quite fruitful. You are able to take decisions also very wisely. So that is very, very important. The verse number 70. Krishna says, a person who is disturbed by the incessant flow of desires. This is one of my favorite verses, really amazing. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still. I repeat, the desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. This is one of the most beautiful verse. Most beautiful verse. Have you ever seen river getting into the ocean? You've been to Ganga Sagar? Now, can you imagine if there is a flood, even if the flooded river which can create the havoc, right? If that flooded river enters the ocean, still the ocean doesn't overflow. देखा है आपने? Ocean, have you ever seen ocean overflow? No, it doesn't. It overflows only during the tsunami. And the tsunami is what? It's basically, there is an earthquake. And that is what causing it. It's not the ocean is overflowing. It's because of the underlying land is creating a trouble. But the water rushing into the ocean doesn't matter. So many rivers, right? We have only 3 sides of the ocean, right, of India. We have an Indian Ocean, Arabic Ocean, right? 2 ही ocean है. कितने सारे rivers हैं India में? There are plenty of rivers, right? It's not that the river ends somewhere. It has to end in the ocean only, right? इतने सारे rivers ocean में मिलते हैं, फिर भी ocean को कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, overflow नहीं हो रहा है ocean, and completely calm. So what a beautiful analogy Krishna gives. That is how our mind should be. What the desires are compared to? Our mind is compared to ocean, and the desires are compared with rivers. So all these rivers coming into the mind like ocean, if your mind is like ocean, then no problem. But if your mind is like a lake, can you imagine if a lake and the river is going through the lake, what will happen? It will overflow, it will disturb you. It will completely disturb you. So we have to make our mind like ocean. So that no matter how many desires can flow into it, it will be completely calm. And very beautifully explains Krishna that if you try to satisfy it, that's what Krishna says, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. There is no peace. हमको ऐसा लगता है ना, एक ये desire fulfill हो गया ना बस है. नहीं. Why? Why do you think? कि ये desire fulfill हो गया तो I will be okay. इसमें क्या problem है? Krishna says, right? Krishna says that a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy the desires. So, what is the problem in satisfying the desire? Yeah. We all have experience. It's not that, oh, if only if this desire get fulfilled, I'll be completely happy. No, that desire will have another version of it. Another, as she rightly said, can give a seed to another completely different desire. Right? So it will go on and on. On and on. There will never be the case where you will not have desires. There is one sect, Buddhism, right? Says zero your desire. Become desireless. Is it possible? It's not possible. Huh? That itself is a desire. Huh? To become a desireless itself is a desire. So there is no question that you become desireless. So desires aayenge. But if your mind is like ocean, then doesn't matter. So many desires will come in. You will be able to distinguish, as it is said in the previous verse also, what to do. And that's how you can get peace. And that's what I have written today, right? If you have the right content in your container, that is a way to get the contentment. अगर हमारे दिमाग में, हमारे कंटेनर में कंटेंट ही अलग रहेगा, विच जस्ट एजिटेट्स यू, नहीं ये चाहिए मेरे को, वो चाहिए, ये करना है, वो करना है, and that's it. You will never have peace, you will never have contentment. But if you have the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita in your container, then you will easily become contentment. Easily get the contentment. It's not possible otherwise. Otherwise, we'll just look out for the container. How am I looking good rather than being good? That's what's going to happen. So we have to become like an ocean. Okay?
I think there is a point that one who has lots of desires is actually bound. One who is desire like less is actually free.
Yeah. So the very nicely Madhav Prabhu is explaining that a person who is running around, you may seem he is free, but is actually bound. And a person who is sitting at one place, you may feel that he is bound, but is actually free. See, try to understand, visualize this. The person who is running around, you may feel that he is free. No, he is running around to fulfill his desires. So that means he is bound by his desires. And a person who is sitting at one place, you may feel that he is bound, but is actually free because he is not bound by the desire. Thank you for sharing that. It was really nice. Verse 71. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification. See, that is very important. When Prabhupada says you have to give up desire, that means give up the desire for sense enjoyment and sense gratification. You have to replace your desire. Right? That is very important. If there is a glass full of dirty water, right? And if you want that glass to be filled with clean water, what do? There is a beautiful experiment given, and there is so much YouTube and other things coming up, right? If I say your puzzle is, there is a glass, okay, there is a container, in that there is a dirty water. I want you to replace that water with the clean water. The condition is you don't have to throw this water. And then you say, okay, now I threw this water, साफ कर दिया उसको और नया पानी डाल दिया. No. The condition is without throwing that water, you have to fill in the clean water in that same container. How will you do it?
The flow of clean water should continue.
Continue, right? If you go on, and another important thing is do not add any dirty water. Do not add any other dirty water. Otherwise, no matter how much ever you keep on putting the clean water, if you other side से वो गंदा पानी डाल रहे हैं तो we will never get clean. Right? But if you go on putting the clean water, one day what will happen? All this dirty water will overflow and finally your container will have a pure clean water. Right? And that is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. That give up the desire for sense enjoyment, for selfishness, and feed that same desires which is of nature of selflessness, doing something good for others, doing something good for the soul. That's what we have to replace. Simple. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. So ultimately, Krishna is trying to help us understand how will you achieve the peace. And Krishna says in the other, why Krishna is so much after peace? He is explained also in the previous verses also. Why so much after peace? Shanti. Have you heard like many of the yagyas and Sanskrit verses, then finally it says Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Why so much peace? पीस क्यों चाहिए हमको?
जब तक पीस नहीं होगा तब तक आगे तो सोचेंगे फर्स्ट तो इंटरनली सेटल योरसेल्फ तभी आगे बढ़ सकते हैं.
Okay. Okay. If you are not peaceful, you cannot move ahead. Okay. और कुछ? Why do you need peace?
Peace for eternity.
Peace for eternity. Okay. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, why do you need peace? What you are looking for? Are you looking for peace? Happiness. You are not looking for peace. You are looking for happiness. Peace is a neutrality. You are looking for a positive experience, right? You are looking for happiness. आप लोग पीस के लिए नहीं देख रहे हैं, आप लोग हैप्पीनेस के लिए. हम सब हैप्पीनेस ढूंढ रहे हैं. इसके लिए कृष्णा बताते हैं इन द प्रीवियस वर्सेस. A person who doesn't have a peace, there is no possibility of happiness. If a person who is not peaceful, there is no possibility of happiness. That's what Krishna says in the previous verses. So that is why peace is the prerequisite for happiness. If somebody says, I can be happy without being peaceful, it is impossible. It is impossible. Somebody said, I can do PhD without going through all the education. Not possible. You have to go through all these things. It's a prerequisite. So peace is prerequisite for happiness. Without that, there is no question of happiness. In fact, Krishna says there is no question of happiness. Right? So that is why Krishna is emphasizing so much on peace in these verses. And Krishna ended the chapter with the last verse. It says, that is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Amazing. I repeat, that is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. What a hopeful statement, right? Even at the deathbed, there is a high chance, if you remember God, that you will enter the kingdom of God. So here we see that now one question will come, right? That is the Krishna who said, like, he was talking to Arjuna saying, okay, now the second chapter is over, now I'm going to talk to you the third chapter. Is Krishna is the one who divided the Bhagavad Gita in the chapters? No. Who did that? Vyasadeva. Okay, where Bhagavad Gita is coming, he is a part of what? Mahabharata. Who wrote Mahabharata? Vyasadeva. Wrote Ganeshji, but dictated by Vyasji, Ved Vyas, right? So, Ved Vyas is the one who did all this adhyay for the readers to understand, right? And he divided in such a way. Now, what is happening? After this verse, Arjuna is getting bewildered and he is going to ask a question. So he felt that this is the right breakup of the chapter. That is how the chapters were divided. It's not that Krishna says, okay, now chapter 2 over, Arjuna. Let's have the third chapter. No. It's for us, right? So we'll get into the third chapter entitled Karma Yoga. That's why it's a very, very important chapter. And a most amazing chapter which will clear out many of our confusions that arises because of people adopt the path of spirituality. Okay? So we'll start our today's discussion. The chapter entitled Karma Yoga. You can repeat after me. Arjuna Uvacha Jayayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat Kim Karmani Gore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So अभी क्या हुआ है? In verse number 2.49, right, Krishna says, so it's actually a connection. I want to help you with the connection of this previous chapter. In the verse number 49, Krishna said that, O Dhananjay, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So now, and all the other verses that Krishna spoke, right, it's so much about spirituality, right? So looking at that and then says, okay, आप मेरे को ये सब बता रहे हो, then why you are engaging me in the ghastly warfare? Huh? You are telling me to keep all these abominable things. Don't worry about what you want to enjoy and all those things. So why to fight? Better I go to the forest and I continue what I originally asked for. I go to forest and meditate and beg. That is much better. Why you want to engage me in such a ghastly warfare? That is what Arjuna's question is now. Right? So I repeat, Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? हाँ पिछले जो verses हुए हैं उसमें what Krishna is talking about, that keep your senses away from the sense objects, be meditative, be peaceful and all kinds of things, right? Now war is absolutely opposite of peace. Right? So that's why Arjuna is bewildered and is asking Krishna a question. And that is where this particular chapter will clear out many of our doubts. Okay? So who wants to read the purport? Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter, with a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief, and the path of realization has been recommended, Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to the inertia, and one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place, where one may acquire only cheap adoration from the innocent public. Arjuna also thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence and spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life and the practice of penances and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna as to his best course of action. In answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explained Karma Yoga or work in Krishna consciousness in this
Chapter.
third chapter.
So that's why it's a very beautiful purport that Srila Prabhupada writes, right? Now, tell me honestly, as soon as you start working, what is the first thing comes to your mind? हाँ? फल क्या मिलेगा? उसके आगे भी ना, specifically I'm talking about the male body. Their psychology works is, from day one he will feel, when will I retire? Retirement कभी होगा मेरा? Huh? Isn't it? Do you all agree with me? From day one, there is a person whom I met, I think on Friday only, yesterday. And he was saying कि मैंने कॉलेज में ही डिसाइड कर लिया था कि मैं 15 साल से ज़्यादा काम नहीं करने वाला हूँ. I'll work only for 15 years. And he was very determined actually. Very determined. And by Krishna's mercy, he's actually got introduced to ISKCON. And he also became a devotee. And he says, but I got the knowledge from my Siksha Guru that I should continue the work. So I'm continuing. So it's not that people come into Krishna consciousness, only they feel like I want to retire and this and that. No, everybody wants to have that leisure time. Everybody. Now for that matter, even the ladies also, right? If you see, everybody wants to enjoy. Nobody wants to work. Right? Everybody wants कि अगर, why do you think washing machine sold like a hot cake? Why do you think fridge? Why do you think all this dishwasher, microwave? Now the chapati maker is also coming now. The ready-made chapatis can come. The Food Pro, the what do you call the atta chakki? Why do you think? Zomato. When initially it came, it has to struggle, but now you see, my God. And that too, any time of the day, night, any time. Right? So why do you think? Because inherent nature of the soul is to enjoy. What is the property of the soul? Sat Chit Ananda. The soul is eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. हमेशा उसको आनंद चाहिए सोल को. So that is why it is what we are all looking for. But we are looking for in a wrong place. In a wrong place. Right? How many of you know your grandmother or somebody who could cook without making any faces for 10 guests, 15 guests coming at home, that too uninvited and unnoticed. No notice given, nothing. And sometimes they used to come even almost 10 p.m., 11 p.m. because the train came at that time. And I was surprised कि अभी यार तू उधर से खाना खा के आने का अभी इधर घर पे आके खाना खाने. So we have seen our grandparents, like grandmothers specifically, at that time गरम गरम भाकरी रोटी और and even एक बाहर से आया तो कुछ स्वीट भी बनाना पड़ेगा तो ऐसे तुरंत शीरा या हलवा बना देते हैं without making any faces, right? But now if you go and have, like you may wonder, अरे क्या बाहर से मिला नहीं क्या कुछ, क्या हो गया भाई आपको? And then अगर ऐसा है तो then nowadays no worries, I have a Zomato. So the things will be taken care, right? So everywhere, what I'm trying to say is we inherently want to avoid the hard work and we want the easy and a gala life. Everybody wants to have that, right? But then what happens? People are looking for it, right? And then they come to Krishna consciousness or any spiritual path. And where say, sab kuch maya hai, focus on chanting, all these devotional services. Because ultimately, तो we will die. And क्या होगा, कुछ क्या लेके आए थे, क्या लेके जाएंगे, खाली हाथ आए थे, खाली हाथ जाएंगे, ये वो. So then it resonates very well. वैसे भी कुछ करना नहीं है अपने को. That's what Srila Prabhupada says here. Then that person says, मैं अकेला किधर जाके बस chanting करता हूँ और कुछ नहीं है. हाँ, जैसे सब कुछ खाना पीना सब कुछ उधर आ जाएगा, chanting करने से आपका हो जाएगा. नहीं. That is completely you are taking a Baisakhi. Taking a crutch of ISKCON or Krishna consciousness or any spiritual path for that matter to fulfill your ambition of not doing hard work. Not doing hard work. And that's what Srila Prabhupada condemns. That's why after coming to ISKCON there are so many people, they have conflicts in their home. Why? Because the wife feels like, you have become very lazy, you are not ambitious at all. Earlier you were working so hard for our family, now you are just completely हाँ जो भगवान की इच्छा होगी वो आएगा, वैसे भी हमारे नसीब में जो आएगा. That is what Krishna says. Prabhupada was so much. Prabhupada says you have to be very, very ambitious. What you have to do is you have to change your focus. Huh? When Srila Prabhupada, there are so many spiritual gurus, right? When you show them money, says, no, 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 no money, it's Maya, Maya, Maya. Prabhupada, when he saw money, embraced with two hands. He collected money with two hands. Why? Because he spent all this for the spreading Krishna consciousness, giving Krishna consciousness to others. Money is not bad. The use of money, how you use it, is a problem. If you use it for your own sense gratification and for your own enjoyment, that is a problem. But if you use it for Krishna's service and other things, it's fantastic. The facilities that you may have, use it for Krishna's service. Right? Don't give excuse saying, oh, Krishna consciousness, that means, I'm really I'm nourished so much. No, it is as very beautifully Srila Prabhupada writes, and I marked it here. Prabhupada says, in other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting. Skillfully. Skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. So it is very, very important. We should not take Krishna consciousness as an excuse. It's a very blissful process. Don't just take it as an excuse. You can continue to work as your purification, because we will see in the future verses what's going to come. Okay, so let's take the next verse. व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसि मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहम् अपनुयाम्. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
The previous chapter has to
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita. Many different parts were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the position of the neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his questions, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of purpose.
Right. So why do you think here Arjuna is asking a question saying कि ऐसा दो बाजू मत बोलो, like let's say if I say कल, अभी कल का मीनिंग क्या हो सकता है? Yesterday भी हो सकता है और tomorrow भी हो सकता है. But if I give a context, कल हम book distribution करेंगे, so then it has a context and it is very clear कि आप कल मतलब tomorrow की बात कर रहे हो, right? So like that, यहाँ पे as Prabhupada explained in the purport that Krishna gave the glimpse of everything, right? And in the first place, Krishna wants Arjuna to fight. बोलते एक बाजू आप मेरे को फाइटिंग करने का बोल रहे हो, दूसरी बाजू मुझे बता रहे हो कि लाइक ऑल दिस फ्रूटिव वर्क इज काम का नहीं है, डोंट एक्सपेक्ट एनी रिजल्ट्स, एंड देन लाइक बी अ स्थिता प्रज्ञा, बी इंटेलिजेंट एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सो लाइक आई एम कंफ्यूज नाउ. सो योर इंस्ट्रक्शंस आर इक्विवोकल. अब दोनों बाजू बोल रहे हो, एक बाजू बोल रहे हो फाइट भी करो और एक बाजू बोल रहे हो कि फल की इच्छा मत रखो, बी पीसफुल, बी दिस. सो आई एम कंफ्यूज. सो यू टेल मी डिसिसिवली व्हाट you want me to do. So now we will see what Krishna says. Shri Bhagavan uvacha lokesmin dividanishta pura prokta maya naga jnana yogena sankhyanam Karma yogena yoginam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. You want to read? Yeah.
Purport. In the second chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedure, namely Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, or a Buddhi Yoga. In this verse, the Lord explained the same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga, or the analytical study of nature of a spirit and matter, is the subject matter for persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. The other class of men work in Krishna consciousness as it is explained in the 61st verse of the second chapter. The Lord has explained also in the 39th verse that by working by the principle of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action, and furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. The same principle is more clearly explained in the 61st verse, that is Buddhi Yoga, is to depend entirely on the Supreme, or more specifically on Krishna. And in this way, all the senses can be brought under control very easily. Therefore, both the yoga are independent as religion and philosophy. The religion without philosophy is sentimental or sometimes fantasism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness.
This also stated in the Bhagavad Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The indirect process is philosophical speculation, by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness, and the other process is directly connecting everything with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by a philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process, and by the direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime.
Wow, thank you. So here there is a beautiful statement that Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. That is where I want all of you to focus while we discuss the importance of this verse. Where Srila Prabhupada says, religion, please pay attention, religion without philosophy is sentiment. Religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism. While philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So now, how many of you agree that religion without philosophical understanding is sentimentism or mere sentiments? Have you seen that anywhere? Can you give me example? When the word fanaticism comes, is
No, so I have one of very close Muslim friend is Gori Muslim. So he's accepted that the Quran is written by very high level Urdu, Arabic Urdu,
Huh.
which here people don't understand. So as that statement says, there is no philosophy which people who are following they understand. It is only the mandate which the interpreter who is giving they are following. They don't understand the philosophy because there is no philosophy which even they stipulated. It's all mandates. ये करना है, ये नहीं करना है. So वो जो interpreter है उसका ये religion है. So that's where the fanatism is spreading.
Yeah, and I wonder if they have anything like what we do here. Any questions? Right? So even if you see in our own religion as well, right? We call our Hindu religion or now the Sanatan word has become very famous, right? Why do you think it has so much taken up the momentum now? Hmm? Why do you think the Sanatan Dharma has taken up so much of momentum now? Which you don't see, right? We have been adults for last 20 years at least, right? Some of us. So a decade prior to this or 15 years, we did not see much of a momentum regarding Sanatan Dharma. Why do you think it's so much of momentum now? Leader, yeah. Okay, definitely is one of the reason. Definitely one of the reason is that
because ये जनरेशन को पता नहीं है कि जो सनातन धर्म क्या है तो वो ज़्यादा
they're
बताना
inquisitive.
या
Okay. Anyone else? क्यों लगता है आपको ऐसा? हाँ?
Because of the social media, people are becoming more aware.
Social media people are becoming more aware. I think that could be one of the very prominent reason. And that social media, and plus we are also seeing, it's not just जो न्यूज़ में दिखाते हैं वही हम लोग सुन रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं, हम लोग भी ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं कि क्या हो रहा है. So abhi, if you see, it's like we feel that if that Sanatan Dharma doesn't act now, then there is a high chance that we will completely lose it. We'll lose the ground. So it has become like kind of a survival issue or so in this last 5 to 7 years, right? That is why this thing has picked up really well, right? But then if it has to last, how long will it last? Because if you see, go and people who are holding the saffron flag, this is nice, we want them because they are the one who's going to protect us, right? But if you go and ask some of these basic questions, who you are, what is Sanatan Dharma, why it is called Sanatan, nobody knows. So this is exactly like a sentiment. Arey haan, we are losing the ground, we really have to be together. Other Hinduism is, I'm sorry to say, but we also come into the same mood as they say Islam khatre mein hai, we also say Hinduism khatre mein hai. Right? And then we go on to this. Please try to understand, I'm not denying or diminishing the people who are making an effort, which is really good. But we as an ISKCON organization, that the amazing contribution that ISKCON is doing is to help people understand why they are Sanatanis. That is very important. And then they will become more dedicated to protect Sanatan Dharma because they understand what Sanatan means. Otherwise, as Srila Prabhupada very beautifully says, a religion without philosophy. हाँ, हम लोग जाके नारा लगाएंगे, जुलूस निकालेंगे, सब कुछ करेंगे, right? We will make a whole thing. But if you don't understand the philosophy behind it, right? Who is Lord Ram? What is his character? Who is Krishna? Right? Why Bhagavad Gita was spoken? What happened in Mahabharata? Why Krishna did this? Right? If somebody comes and says, why Draupadi had 5 husbands? And then we say, oh, we don't know. Then that sentiment will not last long. Or it will become a fanaticism like, Islam, that's it. Fatwa nikal diya khatam. अरे बाबा सोच तो सही क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है. You are living in the same country. Huh? I recently saw one YouTube or somebody sent the WhatsApp. There is, I think वो बागेश्वर धाम में somebody was taking a parade out, right? After they won. And then सामने से they're coming and showing the posters of Aurangzeb and Tipu Sultan and things like that. And saying, Aurangzeb तुम्हारा बाप है. अरे यार. What you're trying to prove is completely fanaticism. मतलब बुद्धि ही नहीं है यार. You are staying in the same country, हाँ, जिसका तुम खाना खा रहे हो, जिसका तुम सब कुछ कर रहे हो, जो तुमको शेल्टर दे रहा है हम सबको, उसके ही तुम अगेंस्ट जा रहे हो. The Aurangzeb is the one who did so much of atrocities, right? Now उसी को तुम ऐसे खड़ा कर रहे हो, like what you are trying to do? Because and you are saying you are religious. What kind of religion is this? It's not religion. It's completely sentiment and fanaticism. It is not religion. And on the other hand, if you're completely philosophical and having no religion, it's completely mental speculation. हाँ? आत्मा ऐसा भी हो सकता है, परमात्मा ऐसे भी हो सकते हैं. अरे भाई ऐसा नहीं होता है. You have to read the scriptures. Whatever is given in the scripture is the truth. You don't have to speculate. हाँ कि मरने के बाद क्या होता है. People speculate. अरे बाबा शास्त्र कोट करो ना. जो हमारे शास्त्र है वो किस लिए है? उसमें भर भर के फिलोसॉफी है. हाँ भर भर के फिलोसॉफी है. डोंट स्पेक्युलेट. अपना दिमाग मत चलाओ. इसीलिए श्रील प्रभुपाद इज अ गोल्डन स्टेटमेंट. रिलीजन विदाउट फिलोसॉफी इज सेंटिमेंट और फैनेटिसिज्म, एंड फिलोसॉफी विदाउट रिलीजन इज कंप्लीटली स्पेक्युलेशन. सो दोनों का समन्वय होना चाहिए, religion and philosophy. Then it becomes beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfect. ठीक है? Make sense? Go to the next verse. We'll take one more verse and then we will have the chanting, and if there are any questions or any other discussions, we'll take it. Okay? Yeah, also, and in the one more thing that Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes towards the end of the purport, just 4-5 lines before that, he's saying, this is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. Right? Abhi, the whole idea of religion and philosophy is to understand who you are first of all. Right? And you have to understand who is the Supreme and what is your relationship with the Supreme. That is why if you see Bhagavad Gita is a perfect book. It's not because it's a part of the Sanatana Dharma or because of the Hindu or whatever. If you go and ask, there are so many Christians, so many Muslims who have read Bhagavad Gita, they said it absolutely makes sense. Why? Because it talks about the eternal principles. हाँ, Srila Prabhupada very beautifully says, हाँ, कि अगर गोल्ड मुस्लिम के घर में है या क्रिश्चियन के घर में है या हिंदू के घर में है तो कुछ चेंज होने वाला है क्या उसका? गोल्ड गोल्ड ही रहेगा. हाँ, मुस्लिम के घर से गोल्ड आया तो उसका कीमत कम होएगा क्या? नहीं, ये मुस्लिम के घर का गोल्ड है तो इसका कीमत मैं सिर्फ 16,000 रुपया दूंगा. ये क्रिश्चियन के घर का है तो मैं इसका 25,000 दूंगा. नहीं ना, गोल्ड इज गोल्ड. Similarly, God is God. Somebody is calling it Allah, somebody is calling it Bhagwan, somebody is calling it God. Krishna is Krishna. You may wonder कि हाँ आप तो कृष्णा बोलते हो मतलब you are describing all his form and everything. We don't believe in. अरे बाबा तुम्हारे पास नई information इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो नहीं है चीज, right? Just because you don't have the information, and in fact your prophet also says कि भाई I want to give you so much but you are not ready, right? That doesn't mean कि वो. Beautifully Srila Prabhupada says one has to understand the self and his relationship with the super self. Then only the life will be perfect. No? So that's why Bhagavad Gita explains about Atma, who is the self, explains about the God, who is the Supreme Lord, explains the relationship between the Atma and Paramatma, also explains what is the material nature, what is this material world is all about, and explains the beautiful nature of time, the Kala. All these 5 things Bhagavad Gita explains. It's a complete understanding. It's a complete understanding. Anywhere else you will not find it. You will find all the things. Thou should not kill. Thou should love the neighbor like how you love yourself. So these are all moral instructions. It has nothing to do with the basic self. Atma, Paramatma के साथ का जो है, that is really amazing. That is beautifully explained in Bhagavad Gita. So we'll go to the last verse of today. Na karmanam anarambhan Naishkarmamyam purushosnute Nacha sanyas nadeva eva Siddhim samadhigacchati. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
The renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duties, which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men. Without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, sannyasa. According to the empirical philosophers, simply by adopting sannyasa or retiring from fruitive activities, one at once become as good as Narayan. But Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. Without purification of heart, sannyas is simply a disturbance to the social order. On the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance in the cause is accepted by the Lord. Buddhi Yoga. Swa alpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a slight performance of such a principle enables one to overcome great difficulties.
It's one of the very important words. It's a very important slogan. That's a very beautiful purport. I repeat the translation one more time. Krishna says, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve the freedom from reaction. Many times हमको क्या लगता है, न रहेगा बास, न बजेगी बांसुरी. अगर मैं काम ही नहीं करूँगा तो मैं कर्म के बंधन में कैसे फंसूंगा? But there is not a time that you cannot do karma. You have to do any activities. It's going to happen, right? So that's why it's make it very clear that not by abstaining from work you can get free from the reactions of the work. Nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Just by becoming a renounced order, just by taking sannyas, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप perfection पालोगे. Not possible. That is why Srila Prabhupada writes very beautifully. Without purification of heart, sannyas is simply a disturbance to the social order. I don't know how many of you, because I grew up in Surat, so there is a mohalla system and gully system वगैरह रहता है, right? So how many of you being a kid got afraid of a sannyasi walking in your street? We call it sadhu, right? Sadhu Baba or other. Sometimes they used to come with the elephant and others in our childhood, you know. So what happened that over the period, because these people have not undergone the purificatory process. Why they have taken up sannyas or they are wearing the sannyas robes? So that they get, because it's a custom in India, right? They respect the sannyas order and they give all the charity to the sannyasis. But they are not sannyasis in true sense. They have taken just the sannyas clothes. तो उनको चैरिटी मिलेगा और उनका जीवन निर्वाह हो जाएगा. So it is crazy. It's crazy. So you have to go through the purificatory process. That is very, very important. And what is the purificatory process? What is the purification that Srila Prabhupada is talking about here? Some yajna they have to sit and they get purified. What is the purificatory process?
Cleansing of the heart.
Cleansing of the heart. How do you clean your heart? Rinse, surf, excel. How do you clean your heart? Chanting, very good. Excellent. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the incarnation of Lord Krishna himself, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairva Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadu Jeevanam Ananda Amudi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purna Amrita Swadanam Sarvatma Stapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. By chanting the holy names, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. What is Cheto Darpana Marjanam? Cheto means your heart. It's like a mirror. Marjanam. If there is a mirror and if there is a lot of dust on the mirror, if you want to see yourself in that mirror, what will you do? You go and wash your face. Face अच्छे से दिख नहीं रहा है. Better wash my face, right? No. What do? Clean the mirror. So So similarly, this heart is like that mirror. If you want to see yourself, right now you are not seeing your actual self. You are actually seeing your dirty self. Why? Because there is nothing wrong in your face, there is a wrong in your heart, filled with anarthas. If you clean it, how you clean it? She rightly said, by chanting the holy names. If you clean it, then what happens? You will see yourself. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagani nirvapanam. What does it mean? Bhava mahadavagani. That means this world, there is so much of davagani. Davagani means what? Forest fire. Forest fire is terrifying. None of us have been to the forest fire, but you go and ask people who are in those areas. It's very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So it will subside your forest fire also. Bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreha kairava chandrika vitaranam. It will give you the cooling effect from that forest fire. It will give you the cooling effect like so many moons. Chandrika vitaranam. Vidya vadu jivanam. You will increase in your knowledge. Ananda amudi vardhanam. Your ananda, your happiness will go on increasing. Sarva atma stapanam. You will be completely satisfied. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Just by chanting the holy names. That is your sadhana. That is a purificatory process. Not by just, oh, now I want to take sannyas. Once there was a person who came and it's actually happened, it's a true story, happened in Sri Samvardhan. And that person came to that, the follower of Ramanujacharya in that Sampradaya and said that I want to take sannyas. I said, why? What is your qualification to take sannyas? So you know what did he say his qualification? He said, my qualification is my wife died and I did not cry. You know what he said? My wife died and I did not cry. That means I am qualified to take sannyas. So you please give me sannyas. So what did that sannyasi who was there, you know what did he say? My dear brother, please go, remarry, okay, and learn to cry. Learn to cry for your wife. Then you will become qualified for any. Because if you don't cry for your wife who is your most near to you, how will you cry for the Lord? Sannyas doesn't mean you become hard-hearted. Sannyas becomes you become soft-hearted. You feel the pain of others. You feel the pain of others. That's what sannyas is all about. When Srila Prabhupada, when he went to US, he saw all these luxuries and everything, but he was actually shedding tears, he was crying. He says all these people are so much in illusion. They think that they are happy, but they are like, you know, if a child is playing with a knife and he finds himself happy, but you know that he's going to cut any time. So Prabhupada was crying that they feel that they are happy, but they are actually miserable. They are actually miserable. So that is what sannyas is all about. And that is why Srila Prabhupada writes that this sannyas is not a joke. So you cannot just artificially renounce. You have to qualify for it. And how do you qualify? By purifying the heart. And what is one of the process of to purify or clean your heart? Is chanting the holy names. Second thing, what you have to do? Always remember this ABC. It is very simple. A, B, C, D. What is A? Association. Associate with the devotees. That is how you purify your heart. Clean your heart. Why? Because the devotee is going to tell you about Krishna. He will elevate your consciousness, isn't it? So associate with devotees. B, books. Read scriptures. Read Shastras. Will give you the knowledge about Krishna. C, for chanting. And D, for diet. Eat Krishna Prasad. Eat sattvic food. Not just sattvic food, but Krishna Prasad. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked, "Are you vegetarian?" Prabhupada says, "No, we are Krishnatarians." Eat only Krishna Prasad. Right? This is the process. Why? Because as they say, Jaisa an vaisa man. Huh? And you believe me, there are people who cook, they actually put their consciousness into it. Why do you think the children are nourished by the food of the mother? And the mother who doesn't cook for their child, you will see that child may not have the right upbringing. Because mother puts love. Mother puts love. It's very important. Very important. And the people who eat outside, believe me, their consciousness go crazy. Consciousness go crazy. But a wife who cooks very lovingly for the husband and the family, their family flourishes like anything. It's very, very important. And not just that, and she offers it to the Lord. It's really amazing. Because when you offer it to the Lord, there is so much love goes into that. And so much nourishment you get out of this. Right? So if you do this ABCD, that is the purification of the heart. That is the cleansing of the heart. Associating with the devotees, reading Srila Prabhupada books, chanting the holy names, and eating Krishna Prasad. That will take care of your complete thing. And if you do that, then eventually one qualifies to enter that fourth ashram, which is the sannyas ashram. And you are enough purified. Without purification, if you do it, you can create a havoc. You can create a havoc. Okay? So we'll end here, and with the right mood, let us all chant one round. And before that, if anybody has any questions or comments, then please let us know. Mother Prabhu, anything you want to add? Prashant Prabhu, Premaji Mataji, Ramjarathika Mataji, Gopi Manjari, you want to add anything? Okay, so we will all chant one round together. Anybody has any questions? Otherwise, we'll, if you want to ask personally to any of us, any devotees, Village Mother Prabhu, anything to add?